Hey there guys, and in today's video I will be talking about one of the most intimidating and most skilled Sith Lords of all time and my personal favourite, that being the dreaded Darth Vader. I will be talking about his power and strength with regards to content within Legends and the new canon, to help explain his overall ability to a much better degree. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Anakin Skywalker was officially anointed Darth Vader, a Lord of the Sith, shortly after the failed Jedi coup to take over the Senate, after discovering the man they were searching for 3 years was in fact the Supreme Chancellor. After Anakin betrayed Mace Windu and hence the entire Jedi Order, he submitted to the teachings of Darth Sidious and pledged himself to do whatever Sidious deemed fit. After all, at this point, all Vader cared about was saving Padme's life. Well, we all know what happened after that, and as a result, Vader had to be placed in a life-saving suit just in order to survive. Vader did experience a significant level of regret for the decisions that he had made to save Padme. However, all that changed following his defeat at Kenobi's hands. Having lost all he had turned to the dark side to preserve, and having no other path, he fully embraced the dark side and became, in Palpatine's words, a true Sith. As a result of these events, he decided to further his own power and increase his abilities with a lightsaber and the Force. Since he was placed in a suit, he had to relearn whatever he had learnt as Anakin Skywalker, as the suit limited his ability to master the traditional style of each lightsaber form. To top it off, Palpatine did not help in the retraining of Darth Vader, but instead said he would have to do it himself and reprove himself somehow. As a result of this, he used to train with advanced fighting droids and studied all the 7 traditional forms of lightsaber combat, and modified each one to suit his unique fighting style. This is why when he used to fight Jedi, they were never able to tell his form or forms that he was using due to them being all modified versions of the traditional ones. This gave him a direct advantage in nearly every fight against any foe, and as a result he would always win. He became so successful in his exploits, people would sometimes represent him as the Empire itself or as its loyal enforcer. Over the years, Vader would develop a new, more hardened and disciplined persona. He became utterly ruthless, virtually devoid of mercy. He was also known to occasionally kill his own officers for failures. The Dark Lord also had absolutely no qualms about using torture to accomplish his goals. Contrary to the rocky relationships he had with most Imperial officers, his behaviour with his stormtroopers mirrored in many ways his former persona's relationship to the clone troopers, and for this they loved him and swore loyalty to him. Vader would often make use of pressurized meditation chambers that allowed him to remain without his helm, the neural connection to his armour, moments during which he felt the perpetual pain that Kenobi had inflicted on him. During such sessions, he would meditate deeply to use this pain to feed his hate, which in turn fed his strength and made him more emotionally driven. He detested everything that reminded himself of his past life and deemed Anakin Skywalker as weak and that he killed him, metaphorically meaning of course that Anakin Skywalker was replaced with Darth Vader, who was more stronger according to him. Following the discovery of his son, Vader became emotionally conflicted. Vader's thoughts of his son, Luke, led to thoughts of his late wife, the woman he loved and destroyed, thoughts he could not allow. Memories would resurface whenever he felt Luke near him, and so believed in erasing that part of his past. He had become afraid of his compassionate son, not because of his mastery of the Force or skill with a lightsaber, but because Luke could make him question the dark truths that had long ruled him. In the eve of the Battle of Endor, Vader claimed it was too late for him, even as his son felt that there was still good to be found within him. Vader would close off the questions with the dark side, but he showed concern for his son in the end. He ultimately decided that he could not stand by while Luke was harmed, proving that there was still good in him before his death. With regards to Force potential, Darth Vader was nearly unmatched and unparalleled, despite losing a substantial amount of his overall potential when his limbs were severed. Contrary to many Star Wars fans' ideas, after his cybernetic reconstruction, Vader's connection to the Force strengthened considerably to the point where even his master Darth Sidious complimented his powers as being unparalleled. Though his injuries had crippled his physical body, Vader believed that the suffering that he had experienced had both perfected his spirit and freed him from the needs of the flesh, allowing him to concentrate solely on his relationship to the Force. He demonstrated enough telekinetic power to stop an AT-AT from stepping on him, and had intended to tear it apart before he was interrupted in doing so. On another occasion, he also telekinetically lifted 2 AT-DP walkers off of himself without any apparent strain. He also demonstrated the ability to grab hold of an engine-damaged Twi'lek fighter and bring it to the ground, and disable a Lambda-class shuttle's engines in mid-flight to take it down. In addition, he was able to utilize a force push that was powerful enough to not only blow away numerous Lilacs but to kill them. In fact, his command over this ability was so great that many of the Lilacs he killed had their carapaces, which were tough enough to repel blaster fire, torn completely apart through sheer force of impact. He could also project force barriers to protect himself and others. On at least one occasion, he demonstrated that he was able to telekinetically manipulate objects without the need to gesture at them, as virtually all other Force adepts did. This granted him the ability to throw objects with the Force while simultaneously engaged in lightsaber combat. He also demonstrated the ability to crush internal organs with the Force as an alternative to Force choke when he wanted to do so, as so to toy with his foes. Vader demonstrated on numerous occasions the ability to probe the thoughts of others, including those of Force adepts of similar power to even himself. At one point during an interrogation, he used the Force to inflict torturous amounts of pain on several insurgent prisoners, to the point of causing heart failure in one of them. Showing a tendency to use Force choke, especially when angered, Vader would go on to use this power to deadly effect when he assumed his Sith persona, but rather than as a means to an end, he would use it to kill those who displeased him or failed to meet his expectations. Vader could also use the Force to augment his speed, as well as to perform Force-enhanced jumps, at which he was quite skilled. Vader also had a strong connection with his son Luke and was able to sense his presence through the Force quite easily, as opposed to his master, who was skeptical about this ability. As Palpatine had thought he had mastered everything there was to master about the Force, yet he could not perform this very ability. Darth Vader had many Force abilities, and I will list some of them. If you would like an explanation to these abilities, then I might make a separate video on them, as I feel they will take up a lot of this video if I was to explain what each individual ability did. Some of his abilities were Force Field Blast, Rage Focusing, Levitation. He could use the Force to tame nearly any animal if he wanted. He could also use Force Cloak, Enhanced Healing, Force Speed, Energy Absorption, Force Precognition, and a lot more than that. And that's why he is just simply a legend. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and if you did, please be sure to leave a like and comment me with your favorite Sith in all of Star Wars, Canon or Legends, either one. Also, I have recently started a Patreon, so I would be really grateful to anyone who donates to it, and I will be sure to shout you out in my next video's description as well. May the Force be with you and have a great day.